Hello, debt-free degree beloveds. I am so delighted to see you here today. For those of you that are tuning into this video, this is a recording of the webinar that I offer, and it is a free complimentary webinar. I offer it live every single month. And so for those of you that are tuning in, it's either that you wanted the information just as quickly as possible, and that's fantastic, or you weren't able to attend one of the dates that I have out there. Completely understand. For those of you watching, just know you can watch this video and you can attend as many live webinars as you want. The only difference between this and what I do live is obviously you have a lot of time to ask questions, where I do laser coaching on the live ones. But other than that, I'm going to give you my entire grit blueprint so you can leave this video and know exactly what you need to do in order to graduate fully debt free. One of the things that I talk about is love. And how do we infuse love into every aspect of our lives? One way, in terms of debt-free degree, is students, love yourself enough to learn what you need to learn in order to graduate debt-free. If you are a friend, a family member, a loved one, a parent, an educator, a community member, someone who is perhaps a debt-free degree club advisor, if you're interested in debt-free degree, help those around you who are going into higher ed, help them learn the tips and tricks and tools that they need in order for them to love themselves enough to graduate fully debt-free. So the grit blueprint is, we're going to go through this relatively quickly, and then I will come back around to each one of those. So the G is grants and scholarships. The R is return on investment. The I is interconnected, and the T is my proven triangle approach. So if you think about a three-legged stool, you've got SM, that's the student money. What is the student going to do to be able to secure a debt-free degree? You've got FM, which are your friends, your folks, your family, the people that you're familiar with. And then you've got OPM, and I love OPM so much, I had it actually made onto my custom jacket, OPM. And what does that stand for? In a live webinar, I'm often curious to see who answers. It's other people's money. And let's be honest, every single dollar that we spend is in fact somebody else's money, right? If we are giving our time, our talent in order to produce a product or produce a service, then someone is paying us in their money. If we win the lottery, that's somebody else's money. If we inherit, that's somebody else's money. So that's what makes this world go around, is other people's money. And we're going to dig into how you can access some of those resources. So one of the things that I caution families and students is this program, what I'm about to lay out for you, it's very, very simple, but it's not easy. It's going to take both resilience and tenacity. Resilience is, I'm going to just make sure that even if things get hard, that I'm just going to slog it out and I'm absolutely going to do it. Tenacity is, I'm looking at this big, huge elephant. And how do I eat this elephant? It is simply one bite at a time. So it can feel overwhelming. I answer a lot of questions here. And then, of course, if you join coaching, if you do one of my live interactive workshops, you leave with this plan in place, all of those. So we have a lot of different options here at Debt-Free Degree. One of the things that I hear most often is that student loan debt is crippling. It is absolutely debilitating. You can think about what it's like to graduate with that much debt and try to go into a job and into your post-college trajectory having that much debt. It's just so incredibly difficult. You will notice the red and black, the color scheme, and it is, if you're graduating in the red, your piggy bank is broken, right? It is crippling, it's debilitating. What happens is a lot of students believe what I call the human algorithm. So I didn't come up with that term. Whoever came up with that term, I give you all the props for that. But it's something that students are often in this vortex, this human algorithm, where perhaps they've got friends whose parents owe student loan debt. Maybe their parents do, maybe their teachers do. They're just inundated by all of these messages that debt is a prerequisite for adulthood. And that's just simply not true. In fact, there have been all these articles recently about ways to manage your money and great with finances, and all of them start with the supposition that most, if not everybody reading that article, has student loan debt. And I want to revolutionize that. One you'll see on my website, but I often talk about this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, and it is, a social movement that moves merely people is a revolt, but a social movement that transforms both people and institutions is a revolution. And here at Debt Free Degree Revolution, we want to revolutionize, completely alter, not just let's just tweak it a little bit. We're talking about caterpillar to butterfly transformation of the higher education funding system so that you're not graduating with all this debt. And so when we think about grants and scholarships, are you aware that there's 46 billion with a B, $46 billion in grants and scholarships out there? There's over 1.7 million private scholarships and fellowships out there. So when I hear students say, well, I don't have good grades, so there are no scholarships for me, or I didn't do a lot of extracurriculars, so there are no scholarships for me. Even when I worked in higher ed, I was a disability services coordinator, and I had 2 scholarships associated with my office. And there were times I was begging students, please apply, please apply. A couple of times I had 2 applicants. And so just understanding that there's that much money out there. And all of my students, I refer to Gabrielle McCormick and Scholarship Informer. She is absolutely amazing. And so you can, find information on my website and go to her website for that. But just understand there's tons of money out there for grants and scholarships. This next piece is ROI, return on investment. And basically what I did is I took all 50 states, put all of those names in a random generator. And then I drew one of those states' names. I went to that state's flagship institution. So let's just say it was University of New Mexico. So I went to that state's flagship institution. I looked at their fee schedule and I added up tuition, books, fees, room, and board. And it came up to $12,270. And then I multiplied it by 8, because typically we talk about that college is 4 years or 8 semesters, and that came up to $98,160. This is where I use that metric that I say I've helped hundreds of students each save $100,000. And this is where this came from. Now, if you are a savvy mom, if you're a savvy educator, community member, student, you know that $12,270 per semester for tuition, books, fees, room, and board can be quite low. And I don't know if how many of you are aware of this. Many institutions, their highest graduation rate is actually 5 years, which is 10 semesters. So you can see how that first number can go up exponentially, and then that second number goes up, and then that last number, the total, really explodes, right? And so when we're thinking about return on investment, you have to think about, if I'm giving my time and my energy and my money to this thing, this project, this degree, then how am I going to get a return on that investment for all of those things? Now, one way is, for many institutions, if you work for their university system, you get free tuition and fees, but it's for a full-time job. And many students say, oh, there's no way I can work, or there's certainly no way I can work full-time. Now, I'm not saying that you must work full-time. I'm not even saying I'm advocating for you to work full-time. I just want you to understand that at 40 hours a week, which is a full-time job, is 24% of your week. So even if you were to work full-time, you still have 76% of your week that you get to do school and life. And when you're thinking about that return on investment, think about how you're spending those 168 hours a week. Many of you who know me know that I love, love, love Tyler Perry. I love Medea. And when I think about, okay, Elizabeth, how did you spend your 168 hours? You know what? Tyler Perry has 168 hours a week, and he plays not only himself, but he plays Medea. So when you graduate fully debt-free, begin thinking about, what does your time look like? What does your stress level look like? What does your health look like if you graduate debt-free versus, oh, you have all of this debt to pay off? That ROI is so incredibly important. In my book, I talk about a lady who is what we call non-traditional student. So she was in her 40s. She was 2 years into her bachelor's degree, and she'd already accrued $40,000 in debt. And she had said she wanted to go to law school. And I looked at her and I said, even if you never accrue another dollar in debt, meaning you somehow get the rest of your bachelor's debt-free plus law school debt-free, how many years as a lawyer is it going to take you to pay back this $40,000? And she just looked at me and just blinked her eyes. And she said, I don't know. I never thought about it. Oftentimes we're taking the loans and not figuring it out, not even thinking about how hard it's going to be. And those are the messages, right? Just take the loans and figure out how to pay it off later. But that ROI is really important. So I don't know if you're aware of this, 37% of all students who owe student loan debt owe six figures. And for those of you who are watching, I'm recording this in March of 2024. The government has recently forgiven a tremendous amount of loans. And so this number was 1.76 trillion was how much student loan debt we owe in the United States. So in order to get ready for this webinar, I said, obviously I need to go update that number. Well, guess what? With all the news that's been in the news about all the people and people I know, I mean, I can't even tell you, probably, I probably know 10 people who've had their loans forgiven. Some of them, one of them, it was over $200,000 that her loans were forgiven. And the number still remains 1.76 trillion because of how much we owe and interest. And so I'm asking you, when folks are extending you an invitation, please join the student debt crisis. Please add to this number. I'm asking you to RSVP. No, thank you. I'm going to do Debt Free Degree with DrRoz, and I'm going to graduate without all of this. So how are we going to do this? So one way that I talk about is in terms of the student, these are ways that you can save money or make money. And so one way is textbooks. You can rent textbooks. You can ask the professor if you're actually going to be using the textbook. You can share textbooks. Another thing you can do is if the professor has, let's say, assigned the 11th edition of a textbook and you find the 9th edition for $10. Well, you could go and ask the professor and see how similar those textbooks are. Another way that you can save money is having a car on campus. Now, obviously, there's the wear and tear on the car, but when we talk about fees, I have seen a parking fee as high as $800 a semester. $800. And so basically, if you were there for 5 years, which is the highest graduation rate, you have paid that institution $8,000 for the privilege of parking your car on their parking lot. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Another great way to save money is with your student ID. So obviously using it on campus, but you can use it in a lot of places off campus. You know, maybe it is a discount on clothes. Maybe it is a discount at the grocery store. What if it's a free haircut? There are all these different ways you can make sure you show that student ID and use every bit of discounts that you have. Another phenomenal way that you can make money or save money is through having a job and thinking about that ROI, thinking about, okay, if I have a job and I'm going to be making minimum wage, do I want to do it at a place that offers me time in exchange for my time? They're going to offer you dollars or offer you something else. So when you're thinking about a job, think about, well, do I get a discount on groceries if I work here? Do I get tuition assistance? There are all these different ways that you can utilize that. And another way that you can be really strategic is networking. You never know who's around you, who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that can help you. Even at the nail salon, I have talked to students. It's happened now twice where I've been seated beside somebody and I basically laser coach them in Debt Free Degree the whole time I'm sitting there getting my nails done. So just, you never know, and just be open to those networking opportunities. And then when it comes to the FM, your friends, your family, your folks, here are some ways that they can impact. So number one is gifts. I talked to somebody not too long ago. It was a family and they were, thinking about college. And there was a comment made that basically this person had something like 17 pairs of tennis shoes. And I looked at this person and I said, how many days in a month are there? The very most there is 31, which means you can't even wear the same pair of shoes twice in 1 month and get through all of your shoes. Is it possible that instead of buying another pair of shoes, that you sock some money away, pun intended, that you sock some money away into a college account? So a lot of banks will offer high school students student checking accounts and an associated student savings account at no fee. So every time that you think, I really want to buy Starbucks, or I really want to buy this pair of shoes, or I need another hoodie, instead of doing that, then you can put that money away. So parents, for a lot of folks, what they'll do, a lot of family members, is they'll say, you know, I'm not giving a lot of clothes, I'm not giving a lot of things, extraneous things. I'm putting the majority of the money I would have spent on those things into this college account. Another way you can do it is a GoFundMe or some other kind of, you know, online fundraising activity. Even if you just put some information out there and say, hey, here's my Venmo account. Can you Venmo me for college? And then another way is a registry or something. So say you go to Amazon, you know, you can put on there, I need sheets, I need a trash can. And somebody may say, I don't really want to buy somebody a trash can for a gift. But hey, that's money that you're not having to spend out of your pocket in order to furnish your apartment or dorm, right? So really thinking about all these ways that you can use FM. And there's a million more, but these are just a few. And then, as we know, OPM is king. We talked about that, right? Other people's money. $46 billion just in grants and scholarships alone. As I'm aware, there's not that much money out there to buy me a home or to buy me a car, but there's that much money out there for you to get a degree completely debt free and start your financial future completely in the black. Do you all see this? So I'm asking you, are you committed to a debt free degree? Do you want to graduate in the black? Do you want to make sure that you have financial freedom to explore whatever job opportunities you want to have, the relationships you want to have, all of that? Graduate with that nice big hefty bank account, or do you want to graduate completely broke? I have no money in the piggy bank and I'm already encumbered by all of this debt. I hope at the end of this webinar that your answer is yes. And if so, begin writing your story. If you are the student in this, what is your SM? How are you going to engage your friends, your family, your folks, the people you're familiar with? How are you going to look at other people's money? If you fall under the FM category, so you're a community member, a club advisor, an educator, how are you going to access all of your resources to be able to help these students graduate debt free and leverage OPM? Think about who you will be and what you will do and what you will have as a result of a debt free degree. What do relationships look like? You know, another thing I share often, and I was speaking with someone and she had accrued over, I think it was about $120,000 in student loan debt. And then of course, with interest, it had gone up from there to get both an undergrad and a degree, master's degree in social work. And for those of you that are aware, you know, social work doesn't pay that much money. And so her trajectory for paying it off was nearly impossible. Like she was going to be paying on this for probably the rest of her life or for a really long time, decades. And so she was dating this guy and they were, you know, really getting close and really thinking about marriage. And when she disclosed to him how much student loan debt she owed, he broke up with her because he said, I didn't work hard in order to graduate debt free, in order to marry somebody with over $100,000 in debt. It can impact your relationships. Hobbies, she doesn't even have a hobby because she is working as hard as she can because she's under that. She literally had tears in her eyes when she said, I'll never own a home. I want you to be able to not feel that. I want your growth to be exponential. I want your relationships to be abundant. I want your finances to be just booming because you're not using that money to pay back a loan. You're using that money to leverage for the ways that you want to spend it. So a little bit about me. I have 3 degrees, including my PhD, and I only took $1,000 in loans. And I would be delighted if you would also join the debt-free degree revolution. As I said, thank you so much for joining this webinar. We appreciate you so very much. If you are interested in joining a live webinar, then you can go to my website, DebtFreeDegree.LOVE, and see the website, the webinar dates there. And if you want to take that next step and really put together your plan, then let me know and join me in one of my interactive webinars. We appreciate you. We love you. You are our debt-free degree beloveds, and thank you for being here.